Okay, Houston, what is the answer to this one? How did you get C? Good. You put your eyes out. You have an Oedipal complex. Oh, come on, people. Read some Shakespeare. Okay, then what'd you do? Just a second. The chattering in the background is quite annoying to me. Thank you. Keep going. It'll be I squared minus I squared, right? All right, go. Touche. You went ahead and took it out. But I'll change that in the next step. So then what'd you do? Numbers and imaginaries, basically. Very good. Now, I thought it was funny they factored out the I, but not the 4. But whatever. I guess you have to go with whatever they want to do. 4 radical 3 plus 4 radical 7. They took out the I. And very good. Dang it. The answer was C. Yeah, put C, enter, and that way at the end I can see if anybody's having trouble entering their answers. C, enter. Number, are there any questions on this one? All right, Houston is off the hook. Here's number 2. D, why D? B, why B? That's right. The horizontal asymptote chart should have made this a real quick one for you. Highest power is in the denominator. Gives you y equals 0. Very good. Questions on that one? The horizontal asymptote chart. Number 3. How did you get that answer? Negative B. That's, well, one of them does. That's right. It had to be A or C because it's negative 1/2 for the x value. Close, actually. Very close. Jenny, you want to help her finish it up? No. Oh. 2A? That's the vertex of the equation. And when you have a parabola, the vertex will be your maximum or minimum. Sean? That's right. Well, exactly. Therefore, it would make it a very good. Remember, end behavior, even exponent, positive coefficient means it is up, up, which means you're going to have a bottom or a minimum. And since these are the same coordinates, that's all you really needed to know at that point. So it was a minimum. Catherine and Sean, you guys are off the hook. Thank you. Negative B over 2A was the vertex, right? The end behavior is even positive, up, up. So you know it has to have a minimum if it's up, up. If you were to sketch it in your mind. Yes, all handwritten notes may be used in the test. Questions on this one? Number 4. There it is. I won't even pause it because I bet somebody raised their hand really quickly. It was A. Kyler. Why? See, I said that so you'll second guess yourself. Why do you think it's D? Do you have your horizontal asymptote chart? You're right that they have the same, but that didn't imply that there was no horizontal asymptote. Derek, what did it imply? That's right. When they're the same power, you just set up the leading coefficients, which gives you what? Very good. Tyler and Derek, you guys have spoken. Even though you were partially wrong when you gave it to. Yes. Oh, just arrow back. Use the arrow, go back to the last question, delete it with the curvy arrow, and then re-enter the answer. All right, number 5. I won't even pause it for this one either because I'm sure somebody will get it fairly quickly. Spencer, if you want to keep reading that, maybe you can go and answer questions. So I don't have to call you later. Yeah, but I need you to answer one out loud. You know, save yourself for a hard one. That's cool. Jesse. Is that an answer? So you're saying it's A? No, not quite. So what's your answer? Why is it B? That's right. That's right. You could factor the bottom to be x plus 4, x minus 4, which would make B your vertical asymptote. If either of those were to have canceled, they would no longer be a vertical asymptote, but neither of them did. Be wary of that tomorrow. I do believe on one or both of the tests, you have something like this, where one of them will cancel after you factor it, and that will no longer be a vertical asymptote. So please be mindful of that. If this problem had been x minus 4 over this, then after you factor it, these would have canceled, and therefore negative 4 would have been your only one. If it cancels, it's no longer a vertical asymptote. It still can't be 4, but it's no longer an asymptote. What? Yeah, the vertical asymptote would be negative 4. Yeah. Other questions? All right. Number 6. Why is it D, since I was dumb and gave you the answer? You can, or you can use quadratic. All over 2a. That's negative 8. 64 minus 48 is 16. Square root of 16 is 4. And that would give you negative 6 and negative 2. However, that could be A or D or B or C. Really, you have to check the intervals. Now, go from there. And what would that give you?
That will give you a number less than 0.
Greater than, you mean?
No, it will give you less than 10.
It'd be 0 plus 0 plus 12. So 0 is greater than, or 12 is greater than 0.
So if it is, it's not bold on the graph?
If it makes it true, it is bold. And 0 is bolded because it did work. Now, let me stop you right there for a second.
Okay, I know what it is.
Okay.
Any number between negative 6 and negative 2.
Yep.
So if you plug in like negative 30,
it would not work. That's right. And if you plugged in something less than negative 6, it would. Very good. Now, if you had plugged in 0, who can tell me, for a free get out of answering question free card, who can tell me immediately why I really only need to check one of these? Yes, sir. Incorrect. Yes, ma'am. That's right. You think none of them look right? No. That's right. It has 2 roots. If you found them, it has 2 roots. And we know from graphing it means it crosses crosses. There weren't any that were touching that would give you. So, because you know it crosses, it has to change every time. So it's above the axis, under the axis, above the axis. So X, check, X, check. And that way you didn't have to plug in all those if you didn't want to. And the answer is D. Questions about that problem? That's correct, nor does Brittany. Number 5 was B, as in Ryan's Bobcat bought bukus of bubbly. Never mind. Number 7. So, very good. You did quadratic formula to get these. Checked your interval, plugged in 0 first, found that it did not work when you plugged it into the equation. And then because these are both roots, you knew it had to alternate. With the equal sign, you know it had to be brackets, and therefore it was D. Darn, I really hate myself for not doing that. I can't believe I didn't have the answer on that. Questions? All right, number 8. It's D. Why do you think that? Okay, so you went ahead and saw that the positive 1, 2, or 3 were your spots to check. 1, 2, 3. And what was the first thing you plugged in? 0. That would give me -1 times 3 over +4 when I square it. So that's a negative number is less than 0. Yes, it is. So we should be looking for something that D works on. So actually it doesn't look like that it will be D. We can mark off, well, just D, because all the other ones have 0 working. But you have started me out correctly. Now what's another number I can check in between 1 and 2? 1.5. And you know what? All that really matters here is the signs, positive and negative. I did start recording this, right? Yeah. So 1/2 times -1 is going to be a negative. 3 minus 1/2 is going to be a positive, and anything squared will be a positive. So it'll be a negative. Is negative less than 0? Yes, it is. So that one will also work. What about between 2 and 3? Like 2.5. Let's plug in 2.5. That'll be positive, positive, positive. Is positive less than 0? No. Something greater than 3, like 4. So that'll be positive, negative, positive, which will make that a check, because a negative number is less than 0. So we're looking for something less than 2 and greater than 3 with equal signs around the 3, but not the 2. Well, bang. That's not any of them. Maybe I mischecked this interval right here. Yeah. Did I? 1.5 minus 1 is positive. Oh, they're all positive. Oops, that one is an X. Oops. But I was doing this interval. I did 1/2 the first time like an idiot because it's not in this interval. That was my mistake. It should have been 1.5, which would have made it positive, which makes this an X. So, less than 1, greater than 3. Looks like these are both the same. So what makes them different? Which one's correct? Yeah, exactly. The actual domain part, this one's correct because it has double brackets. And this one has parentheses. So the answer was a B. Tricky one. Remember, around asymptotes, there's no guarantees about alternating checks or X's, so you got to check all of them. But the beauty of making it set equal to 0 is that all you really care about is positive or negative. So you don't even have to find the numbers. You can say that'll be positive, that'll be negative, that'll give me a negative, blah, blah, blah. You don't even have to worry about the numbers. Questions? Fantastic. Number 9. That pen does not mean that's the correct answer. I don't really know what that means. Maybe they mean, I bet a lot of people choose this one. I beg your pardon? Okay. I believe the current people on these are Chance, Austin, James, Corey, yes, Justin, Chris. Pierce, have you helped me with one? Pierce. I didn't think. Thank you for being honest. Nick. Gabrielle. And Jenny and Spencer. I can never forget about you. You won't let me. Just answer this one. How do I set this up, Spencer? Who can tell me how to solve this? You don't even really have to tell me the answer. Just tell me how to solve it. I'll encourage you, once you're off my list, not to lay your head down and go to sleep, because this stuff will be on tomorrow's test. 19 on this, 20 tomorrow. What'd you say? The definition of an asymptote is an imaginary line that goes next to your function that it rides right along next to you. Yes, sir. I'm sorry? Kind of. Yeah, if they're one higher, which if it's asking for a slant asymptote, it will be, and then you divide them. So yeah, you tell that you'll have one by the 2 degrees, and then to actually find it, you divide. I didn't pause this one, did I? No, I didn't. Let's see, plus 3. Oh, I talk funny all the time. X cubed divided by x squared. X. Multiply. No, you don't have to do it for that part. So, that gives you 0, 0, and 25x. Now notice, this piece is now smaller than this piece, meaning it's a remainder. What can you do with remainders on slant asymptotes? Chuck them out the window. Litter those things on the highway. Therefore, my answer is just x there, and it is A. I do not condone littering. That was just an analogy. I never litter. So y equals x. Questions on that one? Slant asymptotes, you got to divide. Sometimes you'll get synthetic, sometimes you'll have to use long division like that one. No questions? Bang. Number 10. Oh, you know what? I'm going to change number 10 a little bit. I'm going to change number 10 a tad. Because I accidentally gave you one of those that I only made bonus. So I'm going to make this a little different and change that to be 2i instead of 1 plus 2i. I'm going to take away these answers, so you're just going to be working on it. And I'm going to change this number to 20/3. I'm not kidding you. And to be nice, I'll actually work this one for you. Nobody has to volunteer, unless you want to. Oh, just put in B for this one. Doesn't even matter if you get it right. I just need to make sure everybody gets in an answer for everything. If somebody would like to work this, you can have my board and do so. I'm sorry? I don't remember. It was A. Okay. Who can tell me the first step to solving this problem? Yes, ma'am. And then x plus 2i. Remember, every imaginary has a pair. And you'll know you've done it right because I have 4 of them, and it told me I should have 4 of them. Very good. Now you just start foiling like a crazy person. When you foil these 2 pieces together, you get x squared plus 4. We've been foiling since like a lot, so I'm not going to show every step of the foiling. And when you foil these 2 pieces together, you get x squared minus 4/3 x plus 1. Then you got to foil those 2 pieces together. X squared times all 3 of those will be x to the 4th minus 4/3 x cubed plus x squared. Now I'm going to multiply the 4 by all three pieces, plus 4x squared minus 4/3 x plus 4. Combine your like terms. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. That should have been 16/3. Thank you. 16/3. We're almost done. Oh, right. Thank you. Now I need to find my a value. Remember, we don't know what kind of coefficient could have been multiplied in here. If you notice, when you just FOIL these, you're always just going to get x to the something, no leading coefficients. But if you look at all these answers, I mean, I know these don't go with our problem anymore, but they have like 6 and 3. We don't know what that number being multiplied by everything is. We have to find it. So that's where I use this. I'm going to plug in 1 and set it equal to 20/3. Why'd you choose 20/3? Well, I worked this one last block. That's why. So set it equal to 20/3 and plug in 1. So that'll be 1 minus 4/3 plus 5 minus 16/3 plus 4, which equals 1 plus 5 plus 4 is 10. What is 10 in terms of thirds? 30/3, thank you. And I'm subtracting 4 and 16, so 20/3. Now normally you won't get fractions like this tomorrow, but because I had to tweak this problem on the fly, normally you'd get like 4 equals 2a, and you just divide by 2. This time you have to multiply, or excuse me, divide 20/3 by 10/3, which looks ugly, but you could flip and multiply, or you could just notice that since they have the same denominator, you can just basically take 20 divided by 10, which is 2. So a is 2. So I come back over here, plug in 2 for a, and after you distribute, that'll be your answer. 2x to the 4th minus 8/3 x cubed plus 10x squared minus 32/3 x plus 8. Again, tomorrow I seriously doubt you have fractions like this, but you know, we had to do what we had to do. In the clicker? Oh, it doesn't matter. It's not really, you can miss every one of them. I just need to see that you're getting your answers submitted. This isn't for a grade right now. I did. I really hope I did. I did. I'd be so sad. I'd have to re-explain all that. Question. No. Your final answer is an equation. You did all this to find like 2. You don't plug it in for x. You plug it in for a and just distribute. And that a big equation. Other questions on this problem? Was that bothering you? What was it? Nobody smiles at me. Okay, any questions? All right. Number 11. In behavior. Yeah. Why do you think it's A? That's right. When you FOIL all this out, which is the safest way to do it, you'd get negative 5x to the 4th as your first term. And that's the only thing that matters when it comes to in behavior. Even negative makes that down, down, falls to the left, falls to the right. Your end behavior chart should be in your notes. I recorded that, didn't I? You got me paired. Double check every question. Questions. End behavior and horizontal asymptotes are just chart things. They shouldn't take you much time. The only thing that might have taken that one a little while is the foiling, if you wanted to get your entire equation out. Other questions? Bam. Ooh, this is a fun one. Oh, you know what? We're going to talk about this one. This will be the one that none of y'all have to answer since there was one more question anyway. Tomorrow, they probably won't look quite as ugly. I want something that you can actually factor and, use P's over Q's and all that stuff, which I don't think that really works for this one. So, it's actually not A. Just slow down a second. One thing you can do is your end behavior. It is odd negative, so it's going to be up, down, so you can cross off A. That's actually the only one you can cross off like that. Now, when in doubt, you can do an XY chart. I'll try to find a value on here where the three remaining possibilities look different. Like x equals 1. Looks like this function at x equals 1, y equals negative 3. At this one at 1, looks like it's about 2.5. Or maybe 2. I can't really tell exactly. About 2. At this one, looks to be way up here at 4. Find a point that's different on all of them, plug it in, and that should be able to tell you. So if I plug 1 into this function, I get 4 minus 1 minus 1. Which of these functions remaining, other than A, has the point approx 1, 2? 1 and then 2. Which one? Yeah. Easiest way to do it. Although tomorrow's probably won't be quite as complicated as functions. Because I prefer you factor and stuff. This one's kind of an ugly one to factor and use your rational zeros and all that stuff. So, when in doubt, use an XY chart. Or in this case, we just use 1 point. Oh, yeah. Actually, yeah, that would have worked for this one. Questions? Sorry. Okay. First off, do you get how we crossed this one off with the end behavior? Okay. Well, normally, I would say, all right, you want to factor? So if we factored that, that'd be x and then negative x to the 4th minus x squared plus 4. And I'd say, use your rational zero theorem and everything to try to find all your roots. And you still could have done that. But I picked like the hardest possible one because none of your P's over Q's would have worked for this one. So you couldn't possibly reduce this any further. So what you had to do then was look for points on these three remaining graphs that were very different from each other and just use the exact coordinates to identify them. So we said, well, it looks like at x equals 1, all three of these look a little different. Like they have different coordinates. This one's negative, this one's about 2, this one's about 4. So we plugged in that x equals 1, found that y was 2, and found that z actually had 1, 2, and neither of the others did. The one tomorrow won't be quite that ugly where that's the only way you can do it. So, hopefully that makes you do it. Questions on that problem? All right. Click. Number 13. This is more like the kind that you'll have tomorrow. Only a select few. James, is this yours? How did you know that? That's right. In behavior alone would have told you this one. Negative, there are 4 x's, so even negative is down, down. This is the only down, down, down on the page. Very good. And then you could have known stuff about your roots. Had there been another down, down, you could have been like, well, it touches at 0, touches, crosses at 4, and crosses at 1. I wish they had kept drawing these. 1 and 4. Yeah, those are the 2 ways to graph those. It was C. Charlie's Cat's Carved Never mind. Crave? Critters? Calling? I don't know. I have to work on my, what is that, alliteration? I'm not an English person. Alright. Anyway, question. Is it assonance? Or is that what you're calling me? Gotcha. I thought it was. I'll look it up when we're done. If you're at home, this has nothing to do with anything. We're just talking. Okay, next question. Thank you. So you set up your long division, putting in zeros for any missing terms. Alright, then you said you got 4y squared. That's exactly what I got. Multiply it back through. 8y to the 4th plus 4y cubed. Subtract. Then what'd you get when you subtracted? Well, that one is a 0. And then 2 minus 4 is negative 2y cubed. Is this where we diverge a little bit? Alright. Did it? It did. So that's an 8. No big deal. That just changes that to an 8. Are we back on track now? It looks like you might have subtracted instead of dividing. Or, and a lot of people have done this. Well, I've noticed this. A lot of people have been just going to the next term and dividing, but you don't. You come to the bottom. You won't come back to this line again. Yeah, 8y cubed divided by 2y squared is 4y, which lets us cross off D. That's the one without a 4y. Oh, and A. So multiply it back through. That's 8y cubed plus 4y squared. Subtract. That's negative 4y squared. Negative 4y squared divided by 2y squared. Negative 2. Does that help us know what our answer is? Yes. C is the only one with a negative 2. So your setup was very good. One little bitty error, but not too bad. C. I believe. Thank you. I just need Chris, Nick, Corey, and Jenny are my 4 remaining. And Pierce. Threw him under the bus. Hey, that's all good. I'd have done it too. It may come down to one question in the both of you. You know what? You should show him up. You should get the next one as quick as you can, then he'll be stuck. Alright, anybody need me to leave this up there for another moment? Number 15. Ooh, who will have their first hand in the air first and get off the schneid here? All I really need to know is how to set it up. Oh, that was a fake hand raise. It's still up for grabs. Another fake hand raise. Come on, how about a real one? Bursting at the... Oh, go! Except it's not 7, it is what's going to make this negative 7. Now what do I do? Excellent, 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 excellent. Remember, now I believe the very next problem gives you like f of 3. When it gives you an actual value, you plug it straight in. When it gives you a complete factor like that, you take the opposite. So, drop, multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply. That's fine. And I'm not trying... No, I've just done this for years, that's all. Yeah. Yeah. And I did this one last block, so that helps too. Okay, because I can have confidence that these numbers are going to... Well, we're not there yet. We have to find all the zeros. But knowing that -7 and not +7 is one of them, which two can I cross off? A and C. Nick, are you raising your hand to tell me the next step? That's right. You're off the hook. -b, plus or minus. B squared minus 4AC. John, you already answered one. Oh, I don't? It does, doesn't it? X squared plus 8x plus 15. What is that, 3 and 5? +3, +5. So yes, or you could have done quadratic. Either way, you would have gotten, for me to move that whole thing. Oh. I thought it was B. Where did I go wrong at? 64. Touche. That would give you x plus 3, x plus 5, and I did the same thing that Chris did in the beginning. There you go. I didn't listen to my own advice. I took the numbers directly as they were, but I actually needed to take the opposite. What's going to make them 0? Thank you. Kind of hurt. I think I just concussed myself. Questions? I have a headache now. Any questions? Let's do another one of those. Oh, yeah! I need either Pierce or Corey or Jenny to answer this question. Yes, ma'am. What do you mean take out 3? Like to the movies? Oh, it's synthetic. Well, not 3. Since it actually gave you the number itself and not a factor, it's -3. But then, here we go. A drop and multiply and add and multiply and add and multiply and add. What's the in between? Cool whip. Sorry. All right. Anyway, so that's 2x squared minus 3x minus 5. So which one of these can I cross off right now? Oh, none of them. They all have -3, don't they?
Yeah.
So now what do I do? Jenny, finish shit up. You can do it. Muy excelente. -b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac all over dose a. 9 minus -40, so 9 plus 40, 49. What's the square root of 49? Oh, very good. 3 plus 7 over 4 is 10/4, which is 5/2. 3 minus 7 is -4 over 4, which is -1. Which one has 5/2, -1, and -3 as the answers? Very good. The only two people more excited than me in this class are Jesse and Rachel. I know, it's such exciting stuff. Anybody need me to leave this up there? Okay. 17! I haven't forgotten about you. You act like people saying your name is going to expose you in some way. Nick and Pierce are battling it out. Oh, and Kyle. I forgot you were here now. I need you to answer a question too. Perfect. 3 questions, 3 people. You going to answer this? Yes? Okay. Go. What do I do? Oh, did I? Did you help me with? Oh, that's right. Could you? Touche. Corey, Pierce, and Kyle. That's where my third one was. What do I do? Well, normally you'd have to make a P over Q chart, which this would be a fairly lengthy P over Q chart because it would have 1, 3, 13, and 39, and then divided by 1 and 2. But When it's multiple choice, you don't have to try all those. Which one should I just start trying?
Negative one.
One's in the answers. 1 or -1? Which one should I try first? Pierce! Which one should I try first? 1 it is. Here I go. 2, -17, 59, -83, 39. Drop the 2. Oh, when it's just a 1, this really is pretty quick. 2, -15, -15, 44, 44, -39. You're a genius. That's exactly correct. Tell you what, since you're on a roll, we already know it's positive 1, so we can cross off C and B because they have -1s. So it's all down to, do I go with negative or positive 3/2? You feel the negative? Let's see if it works. All right. Divided by 2 is 1, times -3 is -3. Divided by 2 is -9, times -3 is 54. 108, 98. Divided by 2 is 49, times 3 is -147. Your magic has run out. No 0. So let's try the positive. Although it was. Here we go. 2 times 3/2. -12 times 3/2. I think it's right. I think so. Divided by 2 is 13, times 3 is 39. Hallelujah! Yes. The test is actually easier than the work I've been giving you. Yes, sir. You are a genius! Yes, you could have. And in how long have you been teaching here? 5 years, no one has ever suggested that. The Descartes rule, I've never even noticed that. The Descartes rule of signs. Remember, the whole point of it was to help narrow down things. You are the man. Notice, 1 sign change, 2 sign change, 3 sign change, 4 sign changes. Which means there's 4 potential positive zeros, and if there's only 4 total, then they all have to be positive. And this is the only one with all positive. That was freaking brilliant. That's awesome. You just made my day. Oh, I'm recording. All those of you at home, James Wilson is like a ninja of math. Very impressive. I called him a ninja. I mean, how much more complimentary can you be? I'm a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan, so I mean, ninja's it goes pathetic, good, awesome, ninja, Jedi. You're almost a Jedi. Okay. Questions on this one? No. Not anymore. Okay. I believe it's down to Corey and Kyle. Who can be the first one to tell me how I find this answer? This is going to start hurting eventually. Oh, come on. Rhymes with shmee over shmoo. It rhymes with shmee over shmoo. Yes, Kyle! It means you have to take number 19. P over Q, that's all you have to do. Your factors of P are plus or minus 1 and 3. Your factors of Q are plus or minus 1 and 7. So all you have to do for the rational zero theorem is list them. So P over Q, plus or minus 1 over 1, 3 over 1, 1 over 7, and 3 over 7, therefore making the answer Putty. Come down here, I said. Shabam. What do you mean? The rational zero theorem states, okay, imagine I said solve this, find all the zeros. Well, you wouldn't have anywhere to look. So the rational zero theorem stated that if you're going to have a rational root, you know how when you factor x squared plus 2x plus 4, you look at two numbers and multiply to get this number? Same thing. They say that they're going to be the factors of this number divided by all the factors of the leading coefficient. It has to be of that form if it's going to be a nice number that you can find. So all you do is list them and look at all possible combinations. 1 over 1, 3 over 1, 1 over 7, and 3 over 7. Positive and negative of both. That's all that was. Because these are all the factors of 3 and all the factors of 7. Nothing in the middle matters. Just the first term for the Q and the last term for the P. P's on top, Q's on the bottom. That's right. You weren't even there for that lesson, and he still got it. All right, Corey. You got to step up your game. Shabam. What am I looking for? Come again? Actually, that's correct. You just plug in 1 and 2, but what am I looking for? If there's going to be a root between 1 and 2, what am I looking for? If there's going to be a root between two numbers, that means one of them has to be 1 and one of them has to be the other. What am I talking about here? Yes, positive and negative. There's going to have to be a sign change. So I'm plugging these in. If one of them is positive and the other one's negative, I know it's yes. If they're both positive or both negative, it means it didn't cross the axis, therefore was not a root, and it would be no. So here I go. Plugging in 1, that would give me negative 2 plus 10 minus 3 minus 8. Negative 13 plus 10 is negative 3. So I can immediately cross off A and B. And f of 2, you can plug 2 in. I think it's quicker to do synthetic division. So that's just me. That's negative 4, 6, 12, 9, 18, 10. Positive 10. Is it yes or no? Is there a sign change? Yes. The answer is C. That's correct. If they are different, then it is yes.